Welcome to Battalion-13, the podcast, Episode 12, the final episode.
Hey Max, wanna play cards with Ada and me? He's in the game hall. Max? Hey Max, you awake? Max? Come on, man. Get out of bed already. I know you've been pretty depressed lately, but maybe socializing will... Max? Max? What is this? Alice flower extract? Shit. Max! Medic!
Nightmare's plan was coming together just as anticipated. Just a couple of details were missing. Dominator and Destroyer were in the Elemental's laboratory crafting the Thrall device. The Elemental's laboratory was the only place where it was safe to work with the three elements needed to first entrance the citizens of Baltic City, and then all dimensions. Magenta and fuchsia concoctions mixed with teal and aquamarine infusions. Steam, mahogany, and stainless steel made up the decor of this laboratory out of time. The exact coordinates of the Renegade base were slightly out of phase with the Gothic physicality of the Two Keys Hotel. But the Mirrorists kept their base hidden from enemy spies.
When the citizens of Baltic City wake, they'll be drawn into the center of town, where Emerson's vampires will become drunk on these generous libations of human blood. If only we had a substitute for the Cmdr juice. Destroyer was working on an adrenaline substitute to amalgamate with the Blitz and Ost and the Alice flower extracts. But that failed miserably.
Lost in his thoughts, Nightmare didn't hear anyone come into the room.
I figured you might be needing these.
That might make things a bit easier. I thought you were going off on your own. Last time you were here, you made your allegiance clear.
I have to admit, staying would have been more beneficial. You've got the resources here for me to replicate the juice. I could be of help and still get my fix. I've done some experiments. I can make you immune to its effects. I know I've been ruled by its influence in the past. Please, you gotta forgive me.
What makes you think I'm going to trust you again? Destroyer and Dominator are working on a substitute for the Cmdr juice now.
A substitute won't be the same. The fear won't be real. The juice. It's gotta make them too scared to flinch. Too scared to drop a tear. Too scared to whimper.
Oblivion's steel-toed patent leather spiked boots circled Nightmare as he paced the marble floor in a predatory fashion as he spoke, his eyes never breaking contact.
And how do I know you won't just take all the Cmdr juice for yourself once we've begun replicating it? You've always been an addict. When you lost the woman you love, when you lost Kate, you lost all morality. Any decency you had left when she died.
That's a low blow, Nightmare. You of all people know what it's like to lose the love of your life to vampires. And now you work with them! Don't you want this thrall for your own? To have their power without their thirst?
You're right. It wasn't fair of me to bring up Kate. Losing someone as important as her changes you. I know that more than anyone. There's just so much pressure to get this right. You betrayed me for the juice. I've got to be able to trust you completely from now on.
You will, but chill. I'll work with Dominator and Destroyer to ensure the Thrall device will have all humans under our spell. No vampires required. Dominator will be pleased. That bitch is hot.
Better not let Destroyer hear you say that. Okay, you get the files to Dominator and Destroyer, And while you and Dominator begin work on that, send Destroyer to me. I need help with this dark cloud technology. The damn thing doesn't seem to be working right. We need to have everything working smoothly for our takeover of Baltic City. We will silence that city and then collect the immortal souls of Terra 1.
Jesse couldn't help but immerse himself in mahogany bookshelves along the walls of London's office. The office was cozy. The window had a curtain covering it, and what little light shone through highlighted the dust lingering in the air. Mr. Hollow's massive library of books varied vastly on subjects, but what called out to Jesse was a volume on psychology and hypnotherapy. In London's absence, Jesse got up, grabbed the book, looked at the table of contents, and found a whole section on deprogramming soldiers who were sleeper agents, Manchurian candidates. Jesse wasted no time, quickly reading the section, referring to other sections as needed, understanding instantly what happened to him, and how to resolve it.
I see you looking at me book on hypnotism. It's funny, when I wrote that book, no one took it seriously but me. Of course, that was 50 years ago. Another era. Things have changed a wee bit hence.
You wrote this?
Aye, about 52 years ago. Did you read that section on deprogramming?
Yes, I think I understand what needs to happen here, and I'm willing to try anything that'll deprogram my mind. I don't want to be responsible for any more harm to the Academy or its people. Mr. Hallows, how will we know if this works? How will you know if you can trust me? I'm half alien.
There will be some tests. Don't you worry too much now, Mr. Barnes. Let's get started. Close your eyes and count backwards from 100. I want you to relax your body, starting with your feet and moving up to the top of your head.
100. 99. 98. 97.
As Jesse counted backward, he naturally resisted the release of control, but once he reached 50, he was completely relaxed and began to trail off a bit.
Okay, Jesse. Now I want you to think about tonight the Academy was attacked. Think back and tell me where you were when the shield went down.
I was sitting in my room, reading a book on robotics. I remember seeing the shield go down.
And how did you feel when that happened?
I felt nervous, like I had done something wrong. But then the feeling quickly subsided and I felt fine. I thought maybe it was just the idea that something was off. But then I forgot about it.
Interesting. You weren't at all scared?
No, I wasn't. I remember sitting there and thinking this was to be expected. Like I knew this was going to happen. I also remember feeling odd about the guilt because I figured I didn't have any reason to feel guilty. But somehow I felt responsible. Weird, right? It boggled my mind, but then I forgot about the feelings and carried on.
These feelings are common when it comes to tasks one does under thrall. I want you to think back to earlier that day. Did you go near the shield control room at any point on the day at the dance?
Going through the day, I remember everything, except for maybe a few hours when everything goes black. I must have fallen asleep.
Okay, I want you to go about the time you fell asleep and rest there for a few minutes. Concentrate on that missing block of time.
Okay.
Now I want you to picture that block of time as a wall. Nothing too special, just a wall. Let me know when you see it.
Jesse concentrated for a moment.
I see it.
Now, picture yourself holding a sledgehammer and start bashing in the wall.
Jesse focused on the wall and began smashing it with the sledgehammer. He kept at it until it was obliterated. He saw a blinding light and then remembered everything.
I know what happened.
Go on.
It was my first day at the academy. I was in the shield control room. and I figured out how to program a fault into it. I made it think a building was going to phase in later that day. I tricked the computer. It wasn't easy either. It took some time and a lot of preparation.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Tell me, why did you do this?
I had to. I had no choice. I couldn't refuse or make mistakes.
Look deeper. When were you given this command?
Jesse thought back further. He combed through all of his memories since he was recruited. Then he saw it.
I remember something, but it feels like I'm remembering a dream. There was a dark figure. It's getting harder to remember the more I think about it.
This is good. Now do the same as the last time. Picture a wall and then smash through it.
I remember now. The stark figure approached me as I was standing outside, but this is the weird part. I can't place the timing of this anywhere in my history. It's almost like it was just a dream.
Well, hello, young Jesse. I am just a dream, but a dream that will give you an order.
What is your command?
You are to figure out how to lower the shields at the Academy, and then lower them after the next time I see you.
Yes, my master. I will do as you command.
You will forget this dream and go about your business. Your first step is to learn how to program a vault into the Academy shields. Now wake and do my bidding.
After that, I woke up. I went to the shield room and started studying about it. Now that I think about it, I was oddly obsessed with the shield in ways I didn't get. It was like an itch in my brain I couldn't scratch until I figured out the coding to take the shield down. The night of the dance, something pulled me back to sleep, and when I woke up, the Academy had been invaded.
I've never heard of someone using dream walking to control a subject. This is most disturbing. We may want to consult Shawn Kaine about this, but in the meantime, we have to find a way to break the straw he has over you. I'm going to call in Cynthia. She's the only one who can help. My apologies, Jesse, but this one may hurt a bit.
Emerson!
I'm here, my lord.
Why did I allow you to convince me that Mordred killing Jake was a good thing? In fact, why did I let you give Mordred that mission in the first place? Jake could have helped me figure out this shield. We have no psionic specialist now. This is all your fault.
I'm sure he had no other choice. He is good vampire and did his best. We will figure this out, comrade. Where is problem?
The Dark Cloud shield is not working. I've tried every possible way I can think of to initiate the shield. I've seen him do this hundreds of times, but there's something missing. I've noticed that my vest seems to charge up when I'm using any other power I've snared, but it quickly dissipates like part of the power is missing.
Interesting. Like porno video. Get you partway there, but not finish you off. What about smarty Dr. Carson? I bet he has idea on how to fix.
Brilliant! He's under my thrall now. So he's loyal as a puppy.
Emerson signaled one of his vamp sluts to collect Dr. Carson, and he soon appeared.
Oh, good, you're here, my vampire scientist, completely under my thrall.
At your service, sir.
I need you to look into the Dark Cloud technology. It's not working right with my abilities vest. All of my other abilities are working. I've never successfully been able to make the shield initiate.
Did Destroyer make it?
Yes, it was functioning fine before. and after I had him inspected, he couldn't find any flaws. Maybe you can discover the issue.
Dr. Carson took many measurements and performed several tests on the vest and the dark cloud shield generator. Nothing appeared to be out of order.
Sorry to say, sir, but I believe the problem is not you, the vest, or the machine. The problem is that Dark Cloud himself is needed to operate the generator. Since you have already deposited his soul into the regeneration machine, we have no choice but to come up with another solution.
Shit!
I had a feeling this technology would fail. Dark Cloud was a scion of a different sort. We didn't know much at the Academy about scions with that type of ability.
So do you have any ideas, or are we just screwed?
I've been working on a full scientific solution. The plasma blades we use, like the plasma in Dominator's fighting whip, can be molded into a dome shape to protect our base. The problem is, we will need to use all of the power in the city to generate a solid plasma field large enough. We can tap into the power lines in the center of town to power the shield and the Thrall device. Oblivion would need to help us set up ion beams as a second layer for the shield. Using phase droids, I'll make a third layer that creates an impenetrable shield against lasers, and this layer will be self-repairing. No one will be able to get through. Also, I'll connect the phase droids to Destroyer's cybernetic half, so that he can control them in battle.
How long do you need to set something like this up?
With Destroyer's help, it could be done in a few hours.
Great. Now Emerson and I can get back to planning our Baltic City takeover.
Emerson clapped twice to summon a vamp slut. She brought a glass of wine for Nightmare and a chestnut-colored wrist for Emerson.
Oh, darling, my favorite.
Oh, good, Cynthia, you're here. We need your electrokinesis.
What for?
Jesse is under the thrall of a man who is controlling him through his dreams. As I've explained to him, there is a psychic connection between the two of them. The only way to break this connection is with an electrical stimulus from someone with your ability.
What do you need me to do?
I need you to hold on to Jesse's head and send a small shock to his brain while I disrupt the signal by playing a Fibonacci deprogramming sequence.
Are you nuts? I could kill him!
Not if it's done right. I'll walk you through it.
I don't know. It seems awfully risky to me.
It's riskier to leave it as is, allowing him to remain under this man's control.
Alright. How do I do this?
First, place your index fingers on his temples. Then...
Now what?
I almost forgot the musical element. If it's not done exactly right, it won't work. Hang on a second. Hey, computer! Run audio program Lexicon 7. Remember, your abilities are controlled by your emotions. So I want you to feel very relaxed before you do this.
How do I relax when I'm this nervous?
Just close your eyes and listen to the music. Feel yourself letting go of your nervousness. Imagine that you're in a happy, relaxing place. Then, once you feel completely relaxed, allow a low voltage charge to come out of your left index finger and into your right index finger through his head.
I'll try. I don't know if I can.
Cynthia, I trust you.
Cynthia listened to the music and allowed herself to relax. She pictured herself in a lavender meadow. She felt her nervousness drift away, and she was completely relaxed. She shot the electricity through Jesse's temples and into her other hand. Once she let go, Jesse jumped a few inches.
I'm okay. I feel fine. I remember everything.
Chad was walking down a hall on his way to Maheg's office for some urgent news. He nodded at other cadets, noting bruises, cuts, and other wounds. He saw Jake step out of Maheg's office, as he stepped in and leaned casually against the doorframe. Jake sped down the hall at a rapid pace away from Chad, not hearing Chad try to call out to talk to him.
As you know, the Academy came under attack again while you and your fellow cadets were at the training exercise. I'm sure you've noticed the battle scars, both on your peers and on the Academy grounds. What you may not know is that we suffered some casualties as well. 2 cadets lost their lives. They were in other units, so your paths had yet to cross. However, that brings me to something else you need to know. I wanted to inform you personally because of your close relationship with him. Jake was lost in the battle too.
Chad looked back and forth over the room with confusion.
I crossed paths with him on my way here. He didn't seem lost.
No, not like that, Chad. Dead. Professor Maheg says Jake is dead. The door opened, and Jake entered. Chad reached over and pinched him.
Ah, what the hell?
I don't know what you're putting in your coffee, Meg, but he sure as hell isn't a ghost. I think that's Max's job, popping in and out of things. Anyway, where the hell is Max?
Chad pinched Jake again.
See?
Pinch me again and we'll see who's a ghost.
People, before this breaks out into a kindergarten brawl, there are some things you need to understand. Things we're just starting to comprehend ourselves.
Davina entered the room quickly, as if she had something urgent to say. She stood at the back of the room, patiently assessing the situation.
Sorry for the interruption.
Maheg, are you sure you want to do this right now? We've got some info that you're really going to want to hear.
Maheg, what the hell? What's with this morbid fuck-all joke? Don't you think we've been through enough already?
Where do you get off?
What's going on?
I really think we need to talk. Now.
Please be quiet.
If I could just have a moment.
Miss Childs, we are discussing the attack last night. As soon as... Now what? Oh dear.
What the fuck?
Maddie, this may not be the best time.
Actually, this may be to our benefit. If you'll all calm down and have a seat, I can explain everything.
Darien?
Madeline?
No, Darien, that's not Maddie. I don't know who or what that is, but we all know Maddie's gone.
Kristen glared at Maddie. Maddie? Is that you? I mean, of course it's you. But how? Darien reached out to touch Maddie's face, but instead turned and grabbed Maheg by the shirt. Answers, now!
You forget yourself, young man.
Mr. Kaine, you must show respect for Professor Maheg, although I am getting frustrated as well. There's a lot of emotional baggage to unpack today, and it'll all be over sooner if everyone listens. Please, continue, Professor.
Maheg pulled Darien's hands off his shirt as Jake sat down on the edge of the desk, unaware of Maheg's disgruntled gaze.
As Davina said, there's a lot of emotional baggage to unpack today. Yes, Jake is dead. The Jake you knew, Sam's husband, died yesterday in the renegade attack, and according to Madeline, it was from blunt force trauma to the head that caved in his skull. This man and that girl are not the same people you knew and loved. There's a lot of lingering questions here, but...
Maheg gestured towards Jake, giving him the floor.
If you want answers, I'm your best bet. I'm sure Professor Maheg here has already told you some stuff, and I can guarantee that the rumors of my death were not, in fact, greatly exaggerated. There are 2 words you need to know: dimensional rift. Through those, a person can go to any planet, any dimension. And in each of those dimensions, yes, Kristen, thank you for keeping up, is another set of us. There will be slight variations to us all, different heights, different birthdays, slight change in voice, preference for other hobbies, but genetically they're us. Or rather, we're you, and you are us. You see, I'm from another dimension, Jake 2.0, if you will. When Maddie and I arrived, we stumbled upon your Jake's corpse, or rather, she did, which was traumatic. What you need to know is why the 2 of us are here with all of you. You're about to be attacked.
A bit late there, buddy.
No. You've been poked at and tested, but you haven't been attacked. Not yet. You haven't experienced the utter devastation of an all-out attack. But you will. He's coming.
He's coming? He who? And what do you know about it? What reason do we even have to listen to you?
Kristen, there's no reason.
Thanks, but I've got this.
Maddie turned her attention to Kristen.
I understand that it's hard to see me right now. I've been listening. I've been watching. It all makes sense now. Like the painful shard in my chest, the pain she was feeling, something outside herself, convincing her she wasn't good enough. I heard you speak of Madeline of Terra 1 dying, and I...
She didn't just die. She was taken from us. And here you are. You wannabe copy of someone we loved, and you just expect us to take you into our hearts and replace her?
No, I would never expect, nor do I want you to replace her, least of all with me. I know what it's like, that ever-present hole of bitter darkness, gnawing at your heart, the ache of wanting to reach out for someone to hold, knowing they're gone forever, and then... When I walked in here and I saw all of you, I wanted to leap for joy, to cry, to hug you all, and never let you leave my sight again. The pain that has been in my heart since I lost every single one of you has been nearly unbearable, but bear it I did, and I will continue to do so. You're right, Kristen. I'm not the Maddie you knew, just like you're not the sister I knew and loved, the sister who saved my life when she forced me to make a promise over a borrowed jacket.
Maddie stuck a leg out and wiggled her foot.
I'll never have a ballerina's legs, but I think I like these better anyway.
Kristen wiped her tears away.
You do look more badass with muscles.
Like I was saying, we have come under attack twice now. Once at the dance, and then again while a good portion of the cadets were away for training. That tells me that we have a saboteur in our midst. One of ours is working against us, sabotaging our defenses, and we are likely to face an even greater attack soon.
Before y'all start jabbering about who the traitor could or couldn't be, can I please say what I need to, Maheg?
Maheg gestured toward Jake, giving him the floor once more. Jake waited until there was silence.
Okay, yes, there is someone who's got an in with your plans. He knows your strategies, your buildings, your people. Hell, he probably even knows what Maheg was going to eat for lunch. Nightmare's coming for Terra 1, and he'll start with its best defense. You.
Thank you, Jake, and yes, it's a lot to take in, but now let's turn our attention to Miss Childs, who has been waiting so patiently.
Unfortunately, I have more bad news. Your friend, Max Knight, was taken into the infirmary late last night. Ethan Evans, his roommate, found him unresponsive in their dorm. I also apologize for only coming to you now, knowing how close you are. Ethan was with us all night, helping the medical team as they attempted relentlessly to revive Max. Even our most skilled healers were not able to bring Max back to consciousness. I am so sorry.
How?
What?
He's
Max?
dead too?
It seems that he had been self-medicating with Alice Flower. When Ethan found him, they found this picture of Max with this young lady, Maddie, you said, in his hands. As always, I am available to all of you for grief counseling and emotional support.
How are we supposed to deal? He was my best friend, Davina. He was my best friend. How could I... He was fine yesterday. He never seemed depressed or off.
Sometimes these things cannot be seen. Death is hard to cope with for some people, and I guess Max couldn't handle it.
How are we supposed to cope then?
Remember the Max you used to know and love. Remember him as a soft star who shined in the night.
Yellow alert. MCOM 3, Battalions 13, 7, and 8. Terra 1, Baltic City.
What's that?
It is an alarm. Somewhere there is a fairly significant emergency involving a single city or region that will need a battalion's assistance. Use your training, observe, and determine the location as well as the nature of the emergency.
It's Baltic City on Terra 1. That's near my home. It's a large-scale attack with demons and vampires. We must warn someone. We have to warn my friends.
Denise, you must listen to me now. War has already begun. Whether we alert the UAD now or in 5 minutes does not matter. I must make you understand the gravity of the situation. On my world, Terra 6, war is continuous, and I am partially to blame. Without clearance, and before I received government permission, I decided to publish an essay on the exponential effects of the MAP virus transferred by livestock and livestock byproducts.
Baltic City is being attacked, and you're gonna give me a load of BS from one of your essays?
Listen here, Denise. There's an important lesson to be learned, especially about alarms. Scientists, like me, attempted to warn the citizens of my world before the epidemic began, but scientists failed because no one wanted to give up meat. I felt it was my duty to inform my world of the consequences of continuing to eat meat. Autoimmune diseases continued to affect meat eaters, and multiple digestive surgeries were required.
I have to do something!
Ms. Winters, by not following the proper protocol, my world formed two distinct political groups that continue to battle one another on land allocation and what foods people should consume.
That's a health crisis, Trent. It hardly seems relevant now. We need to save the families of Baltic City.
That's precisely it, Denise. My people are dying from malnutrition. The MAP virus infects the meat eaters, and the vegans are not able to gain enough access to land to plant their bean crops. If I had followed protocol, the government of my nation could have created protected lands for the vegans. In addition, the test for the MAP virus would have been mandatory for all livestock.
Cows? Really? Wow. Zombie cows. Your situation sounds incredibly unique.
Livestock with the virus would have been quarantined, treated for infection, and not consumed. Finally, healthy livestock would have been certified suitable for consumption for the meat eaters. Both groups would have been happy if I had given my government a chance to administer proper protocol. If my government did not take proper action, then it would be up to the people to create a plan to test the livestock and create a protected space for vegetable planting.
What if I sent a message about the attack to the UAD and Darien at the same time? Surely there would be no harm in that. Terra 1 is becoming flooded by red beetle demons, vampires, and who knows what else.
You are quite insubordinate today. What if Darien or another member of the team takes an incorrect action because of your message? I don't think you would like the fate of your entire Earth on your conscience.
You told me that working for the UAD would allow me to help my friends, to keep an eye on them. I feel like I was cheated. You want me to do nothing and let others handle everything. Are we going to leave it to someone else to investigate, to report this?
Ms. Winters, you are lucky that I understand you are in emotional distress right now. This is not how one behaves in a militaristic environment. Anyone who is connected to Terra 1 will be able to join the fight to protect their Earth. Darien and his team will be called once a plan of action has been created. You will be contacted as well with your orders. Be patient, little firecracker.
And you are an apathetic narcissist who thinks that it's better to do nothing in an emergency than possibly do the wrong thing. In an emergency like this, every second counts. Every second can mean the difference between tens of thousands of lives lost and lives saved. You, sir, are in the wrong job. I'm gonna do my job and report this.
With trembling fingers, Denise input the coordinates, symbols, and codes into the UAD supercomputer, which notified them of the assault on Terra 1. She included as much detail as possible, including specific heat signatures, sound logs, and changing topographical maps. She didn't want a single detail to be excluded. This was now her sole mission: save Terra 1 from a hostile takeover.
Yellow alert. MCOM 3, Battalions 13, 7, and 8. Terra 1, Baltic City.
So you must be the Madeline that I've seen in my dreams from Terra 2. I thought you died. I guess I didn't see everything. I didn't see Max dying. What the hell, universe? I get my sister back just to lose my best friend?
I didn't know about that. You dreamt of me? What's Alice Flower? I can't believe it. I came all this way and I still lose my second chance.
As far as what Alice Flower is, it's something that grows here. Very dangerous. Was it you I saw fighting a dragon? I saw you fall. I thought you were done for.
You saw that? Well, what happened next was pretty surreal.
Go on. What happened?
A portal opened up beneath me, and I found myself in some sort of aether dimension. The dragon was there, and I thought I was done for. Then something unbelievable happened. I healed the dragon's wounds, and he became my friend. He's waiting for me in the aether dimension. I guess I just call on him and he's there.
That's amazing. You're like my Maddie in so many ways, but also so different. You've been through so much. You're real tough, kiddo.
Guys, I hate to interrupt this family reunion, but I just got some terrible news. Turns out Madeline and Jake were right. Terra 1 was just attacked. All communication from Baltic City is down. The whole city just went dark. A complete communications blackout.
How do we know it's not just some power outage? That happens often enough.
The last bit of footage from our sensors showed a phase droid destroying the sensor. The sensor nodes usually can't be seen, but these droids must have some type of sight that humans don't have.
What's a phase droid?
A type of android that's commonly used as a foot soldier or a guard for the renegades. They're only ever spotted before a major attack. They're just foot soldiers, not useful for elite commando missions, only mass attacks.
How are we handling this?
Well, you and your fellow cadets have your first real mission. If you can be a soldier, put your grief aside and save your planet.
I'm going to.
Like hell you are. It's too dangerous. I'm not losing my sister twice.
If you've been following my journey, you've seen what I can do. I've got a fucking dragon. You've watched my journey, but from the perspective of a worried brother, so you haven't seen anything. Let me prove to you that I can handle this. I have powers too, you know.
If you're anything like my Maddie, I know you can't follow orders. You've never listened to me. Or she never listened to me. God, this is confusing.
I know, but your Maddie is gone. I'm not her. I can follow orders.
I don't know. Madeline turned her attention to Maheg.
Mr. Maheg, Jake and I have been running from the Renegades for months. We know how they think. We can be of great help.
Oh, no, I'm not an active duty soldier. I'm a trainer, teacher. This isn't my mission, but let me just say this. Madeline is a very capable young lady. She can be a great asset to this mission.
Maddie looked at Jake with disappointment and then smiled when he spoke well of her. I'm still not convinced.
Then let me convince you. I'm going on this mission. The renegades killed my whole family. All my friends, my entire world, and Jamie. Their deaths must be avenged.
Who's Jamie?
Someone who I only knew for a short time, but who meant the world to me.
Okay, you can go, but you must follow orders.
I can do that. I promise.
Jesse was sitting in the Academy Robotics lab, working on his suit. He was unsatisfied with his performance in the training exercise. Even though that suit was only a replica of his actual suit, it was almost identical in every way, so he knew he would have the same problems. He wanted to make it quieter and add in some features that would make it easier to use in the fight against evil.
Okay. I think these sound dampeners will do the trick, and this padding will make it more comfortable. What else do I need to do here?
As he thought about how he wished to be working on the suit with Dr. Carson, he looked up and noticed Davina coming toward him.
Hey Davina, what's up?
Davina looked at him with sympathy and he felt sudden worry. She rarely came with good news.
Jesse, I'm afraid I have some rather bad news.
Go on.
Your hometown, Baltic City, was attacked last night. Its status is unknown. All our sensors there are down.
My family is there. What can we do?
Battalion-13 is prepping to go on a mission to the city to gather more intel. I was told to find any students from there and ask if they want to join the mission.
Yes. I need to see this for myself. My suit is almost ready too. Who's going on the mission?
That would be Darien and most of your mates. They're briefing just now. This will be their first mission. We know you would want your classmates there after your performance in the HDAC. I understand you got the blue flag. Excellent teamwork.
Thanks. How soon do we leave?
Not too fast. I have some difficult news. Your classmate Max Knight and your instructor Jake Madison lost their lives yesterday. Is it going to be difficult for you to stay focused?
I only knew them for a short time, but I will treasure the experiences that I had with them. I'll be fine to join in the Baltic City mission.
Jesse, this is a good opportunity for you. If the mission goes well, you may be added to Battalion-13 as permanent members. I have a small favor to ask of you. Ethan wants to go on the mission as well. He was Max's roommate. Please keep an eye on him and the others. There's a lot of grief in the military. Call for help if they need it, okay? And remember what's important. Look for survivors, but follow orders. Act as a guide to the city for the others who may not know it as well as you. You have time to finish your suit, but be quick about it. Report to the portal room in 30 minutes.
Dr. Weston, it's nice to be back here working with the Academy on such a crucial investigation. With Shawn scouring the interdimensional channels for answers as to the attack on the Academy and losing Madeline, it's been a difficult time for the family.
We are grateful for your expertise. 3 extracts went missing during the attack, and only Ms. Harvey, your Alicia, knew the full capability of their power. I'm sure that the UAD will find her absence very curious indeed, and will soon send a search party for her recovery. You may not know this, but she assisted me in many military experiments, and she may have information valuable to the renegades. Alicia went on a research mission, as you know, but it seems she never made it to her destination. Do you know if she might have taken a diversion?
Have you spoken to Shawn, her fiancé, about this?
No, I only heard this morning.
Excuse me.
Jane Baxter and Ian Gelsinger caught up to them in the hallway. Ian was from Terra 46 and was the Chief Tech Officer of Battalion 13. Jane was the current field commander and particularly good at leading the team through trouble.
We'll build a better team this time. We'll use stricter protocols, and Battalion 13 will be the best it's ever been.
Jane, they're just kids. It's too much for them to handle. They're not even 21. They're not old enough to drink. Why were they even recruited at such a young age? Not that ever stopped the UAD. They need more training.
Ian, they have fresh minds. They have fresh eyes. Remember the prophecy about the youngest member of Battalion 13? How would they save us from the threat that infiltrated our ranks? Well, someone is getting information from inside our bases and getting it to the renegades. We need our ranks replenished, and now is the best time.
Andrea stopped in the doorway and poked her head into the briefing room.
Sorry to interrupt. I heard you were speaking about the prophecy I made when I was a cadet here. I just realized it might be about my son, his wife, and their friends. My apologies for interrupting your briefing. I'm here to help with the recent attack.
Darien is your son?
Yes, Ian, Darien is my son, and now that you're talking about the prophecy and Darien in the same conversation, I think you might be right. Shit! Damn Mahagan is always being right about these things. That was his guess back when I made the prophecy.
How bold. How could he possibly come to that conclusion?
I know it sounds crazy, right? My son had a recent brush with death. My daughter lost her life to suicide, and all the pieces are snapping into place. All but the rotten one. The eggs are twins?
Mrs. Kaine, you certainly are an expert in many fields, most of all prophecy, and the newest cadets have exhibited the quickest growing and strongest psionic abilities we've seen at the Academy in decades. Jake Madison has done a fine job with them. Maybe they are the dreamscapers, the ones who will dream of the Academy before they come here, the ones who practice abilities and take classes in their sleep.
I've never heard that part of the prophecy before, the part about them having dreams. Is it new? When was it added to the Akashic Records?
The entry isn't labeled with an author. Although, prophecy or not, we are sending Darien and his friends on a recon mission today with B-13. Battalion 13 has the highest mortality rate of all the battalions. Are you okay with that? Miss Kaine, are you willing to put your son's life on the line?
What choice do we have? 3 powerful extracts were stolen, the Academy was attacked, and there's already been a heavy loss of life. But war isn't the only thing that can kill. Max Knight, who was one of the cadets, a close friend to my children, a son to me, lost his life to one of those extracts just last night. They're highly volatile. The Academy has come under attack twice, and if we don't do something now, we could lose everyone. Jane, you're a veteran. Do what you have to do.
Thanks, ma'am.
We'll do our best.
Well, we should get back to work on the extracts and let them plan the mission. We must allow them to do what they do best, while we do what we do best.
Darien and his crew were sitting in the cafeteria of Battalion 13 headquarters, which was adjacent to the Akashic Academy. The UAD, Battalion 13 headquarters, and the Academy were all in the Akasha, a separate astral plane from the others surrounding the physical planes such as Terra 1. A woman walked in with a man behind her. They looked around as if they were sensing something unusual. Darien also had an odd feeling when looking at the two that came in, but didn't think anything of it. The woman standing above him had flaming red hair and commanded authority. The man had a short brown regular haircut, a kindness in his eyes, and a smirk on his face. Both wore the dark turquoise uniform of the UAD. The man turned to the woman and touched her on the arm, cautiously.
Jane, are they the new recruits?
I guess so, Ian.
I wonder if the one guy knows he's an immortal. I sensed him as soon as we arrived here.
I don't know, but if he doesn't know, which is often the case, we'd better tell him before the mission.
She glanced at the table where the new recruits were sitting. On the table was a map of the different dimensions and school districts within the Akasha. There weren't that many cadets. Not as many as last time, but most of them didn't survive their first mission. This is what made Jane and Ian so nervous.
God, these kids have no idea what's in store for them. They're so young.
A light on the wall flashed, and there was an announcement over the intercom.
Attention, new recruits. Darien Kaine, Kristen Kaine, Madeline Kaine, Chad Ender, Cynthia Trask, Ethan Evans, Jesse Barnes, Eric Swanson, Pharos, report to the ready room on level C3 for mission briefing.
A few seconds passed, and then a light flashed again, and the intercom sparked to life once more.
Attention, Lieutenant Ian Gelsinger, Lieutenant Commander Jane Baxter. Please report to the ready room on level C3 for mission briefing.
I never get to eat breakfast. Better grab a donut before we go.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm hungry.
Jane grabbed a single donut, and Ian grabbed several. They walked out of the room following Darien and his friends. Where's level C3?
We're headed there now. You can follow us.
Thanks. I'm Darien, and this is Kristen, Chad, Cynthia, Madeline, Eric, Ethan, and Pharos. Pharos and Eric smiled simultaneously.
Lieutenant Commander Jane Baxter.
You must be call sign Flair. I've read your bio. You've been alive since 1955. You look so young. Hard to believe you're in your 40s. They all walked over to the lift, and the door opened with a ding.
Please excuse my husband. He should know it's never okay to ask about a lady's age.
Oh, not at all. I'm an immortal. Our age is a point of pride.
She gave Darien an odd look.
But I can see you're new at this. It gets better with experience.
Darien was confused.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
What are you on about?
Don't you get it? Your healing factor? The fact that you died when you were fighting that giant squid thing? And yet here you are, walking and talking like nothing happened. Not even a scar?
What do you mean? What makes sense?
You're like her.
Wait, when did you die?
During the funeral. Max and I had to fight that big beastie in Savannah Park. Max.
So that place is a mystical hotspot on your Earth, too. Go figure.
Mystical hotspot? No, Savannah Park is more like the jaws of hell. The lift door chimed and opened. They all stepped out and followed Jane to the briefing room.
Damn, Darien, no wonder you have all those powers.
An immortal, huh? Does that mean he can't die at all, or just not like everyone else?
Just not like anyone else. You need a magically enhanced special blade. We can get you up to speed on that after the briefing.
Darien was understandably in shock at this news, but it did make sense to him. Well, this changes things considerably. Wait, I just turned 18 last July. Does this mean I'll be 18 for the rest of my life?
Actually, about 18 and a half. Yeah, but don't worry. You can still get alcohol when you turn 21. People don't age that much between 18 and 21, and you look like you could pass for 21 now. Just make sure you have your ID on you.
I don't really drink that much, so it's not really a concern for me. I do have some questions, though.
Hey, do you have an auric condenser yet?
A what?
An auric condenser. It's a small rectangular device that focuses your immortal aura into a psionic blade. It's used for fighting demons.
Darien looked a bit overwhelmed. I, don't have one of those.
Unless you're good with a sword, it's a waste of time and could be used against you. I never use mine. It's not like every immortal has one.
I'm actually fairly good with a sword.
I never use mine, but when you have a power like mine, you don't need to.
You must be call sign Blastfire. Plasma kinesis, right?
I'm impressed. You read my bio too.
Read your bio? Hell, I read everyone's bio. They told me to familiarize myself with the team.
Good job. What, do you have a photographic memory or something?
I didn't used to.
I guess this means you'll never forget my birthday again.
We'll have to pick this up later. We're here.
As they stood in front of the door to the briefing room, they could hear muffled talking through the wall. It sounded like two people arguing. Then Jane opened the door. The two people who were arguing suddenly stopped and stared at Jane and the others as they walked in.
Commander, Admiral.
Commander Kaine and Admiral Shapiro stood there, looking like their argument was about to get more heated.
Good morning, Lieutenant Baxter. I see you brought the new recruits. I'll leave you all to it.
Darien saw that it was his father. He was surprised to say the least. Dad?
Hello, Darien.
Well, this is awkward.
Admiral Shapiro turned back to Commander Kaine.
Looks like you do have a lot to talk about. I'll leave you to it. Remember what I said. Don't make me pull rank.
Yes, sir.
Darien was in shock. His father was the commander of Battalion-13. This was news to him. Why didn't you tell me? Does Mom know?
Yes, of course your mother knows. Honestly, I think she got a chuckle out of me being a scientist for years. The guise isn't as good as the glory, but I shouldn't complain. I won't put targets on my family's heads by telling you. I couldn't tell you since it was on a need-to-know basis, and until now, you didn't need to know.
What do you mean I didn't need to know? When I came home from Madeline's funeral, you could have told me. When I almost died in Savannah Park, you could have told me. I don't understand.
The UAD is a secret organization. The battalions are also a secret. You weren't a member of any battalion, and I was hoping to have more time to figure out how to tell you.
How long have you been commander of Battalion-13?
About 5 years.
You've had 5 years to tell me?
Before that, I was just a soldier, fighting supernatural threats like the rest of us. I knew from the moment you started fighting vampires that you would one day join Battalion-13. Your mother and I both knew. But right now, we have more pressing matters to discuss. Please sit.
Once everyone was seated, the briefing started.
As you know, Baltic City on T1 went dark at 0839. What you haven't been told yet is that this was a demon attack coordinated by our enemies, the Renegades. We've seen this type of thing before on other Earths. T-47, where Ian here is from, had a similar attack. It always starts with Baltic City. But T-47 survived that attack because we had measures in place that T1 doesn't. Or rather, didn't have until now. This will be an ongoing threat, and because of that, T1 will need a team of specialists that can deal with demon fighting and large-scale invasions of supernatural entities. That's why you're all here. Welcome to Battalion-13.
Eugene then tapped the button on his wrist computer. Once he tapped the button, a screen lowered from the ceiling and came to life. On the screen was a map of Baltic City. Eugene tapped his wrist computer a few more times, and several red dots appeared on the map in different locations.
This first red dot is where you want to go to set up base camp. It's a place called the Two Keys Hotel. Darien has been there before, so follow his lead.
Darien remembered his dream about Baltic City, the one where he saw himself leading a team into the Two Keys Hotel. He hoped that when they arrived, he would be able to stomach the carnage that was no doubt there. Eugene pointed to the second red dot. It was in the center of the city.
Once you're done setting up base camp, send a 2-person team to check out the shield generator in the center of the city. This is an intel gathering mission. Do not act without direct orders. I want you to see what the shield is made of, and, if possible, shut it down so we can send in troops.
Eugene then pointed to the last red dot.
This is your extraction point, if you get the shield down. Otherwise, you'll have to find a way out of the city that bypasses the shield. You'll be on your own in that case.
Eugene tapped his wrist computer again, and the screen lifted out of sight.
Commander Baxter has your 2-person teams. She'll be commanding the mission along with Darien. As soon as this briefing is over, you'll have 30 minutes to prepare. Then, move out. Dismissed!
Everyone shuffled out of the room but Darien and Eugene. Dad, I don't know if I'm ready to lead a mission this important.
I know you are. In fact, I have so much faith in your ability to lead that I put you in charge. If you feel the mission is going badly, you can take full command of it, but only if it is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, Commander Baxter is in charge. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Now go join the others in the portal room. And son, good luck.
Darien left and went to the portal room. Baltic City was blanketed by widespread darkness. Debris and rubble lay everywhere, and a thick layer of cement dust hung heavily in the air. Among the concrete carnage, humans crept, trying their best to stay out of sight of lurking predators around them. Looking up, James could see the red and black flickering chasm above the city. He sat behind a half-destroyed wall for cover. Screams of terror rang like loud church bells all around him, irritating, obnoxious, and agonizing to his soul. The smell of blood, metallic and salty, so heavy he could taste it, permeated the air like a fog of human gelatin. The crunching of bone that cut off the screams were almost peaceful, but also morbid by being so. James tried to convince himself that it was just someone biting an apple, but the sound was too dry and hollow for that. It disgusted him to his very core. But the smell dried his mouth and made his stomach grumble. Hunger was a bitch of a monster. Vampires in Emerson's coven ran everywhere, catching human after human, happily treating everyone like cattle, but James wasn't joining the fray. By his unnatural stillness and disinterest, he caught Zelene's eye.
Hey, weirdo!
James' head snapped up.
What?
You're not doing anything? That's what.
She stood over him. Zelene's face was stained with a reddish black around her mouth. The substance still very shiny, wet and runny. Her shirt had deep red stains around the neck that ran like a gruesome gradient down the front, half dry and half wet. She didn't seem to mind it though. Her hands had a chalky red powder coating them, turning her ivory skin almost frostbitten in appearance.
It's a bad day to wear gray.
James pointed, gesturing to her top. She looked down.
Oh, oops.
She wiped her face with the sleeve of her black trench coat. She tried to wipe out the stains with the other sleeve, but quickly gave up as the blood only smeared more into it.
Nah, it'll come out. Now, why are you moping this time?
She sat down next to James.
This is disgusting. Why wouldn't I mope?
Dinner is disgusting. What, are you a vegetarian now?
Maybe?
A vegetarian vampire! That's the best one yet! Look, you'll never survive on fruits and veggies. Get some blood in ya.
You really don't get it.
What's that?
You don't get it. No one gets it.
Gets what?
You don't understand that among all this death and destruction, there's people out there that I care about. And that, unlike you, I see all this as murder.
It's not murder, it's dinner. Your friends will die one day, but we won't. To me, this is living the high life.
No, this is not the highlight. This is hell. People are dying and no one seems to care.
Because it's food. Live a little.
They're not food. They're alive like us.
Technically, we aren't alive.
You just told me to live a little. We eat, we sleep, we can breathe. We're alive. How are we any better than them? How are we supreme?
We can live forever?
So what? I never asked for this. I never asked to live forever as a blood-sucking demon. Sorry, I'm not a mindless slave to the cause or part of this mob mentality since I can see the truth. Sorry, I'm not as heartless as you, but I have people I care about who are out there somewhere, and I don't want to eat them.
If you won't, I will. Sorry, princess, but I'm not some suicidal idiot who will starve myself to death and dry up like a drop in the desert.
If you hurt anyone I care about, I will snap your head off. They're my friends and family.
Try me, bitch.
Don't you have anyone you care about other than yourself?
Zelene pressed her index finger to her lips to puzzle sarcastically.
Nope, not really. Most people left, or I left them.
Has to be someone.
Well...
She paused. Zelene began nervously pulling at her trench coat, pulling it closed at the front with its missing buttons. She tugged at the frayed sleeves, tracing the hemming down the sides of her jacket to the shredded edges with her fingertips. She grabbed a small misshapen nail off the ground and began poking the ashy dirt.
I guess. But he left. Like everyone else.
Did you eat him?
No!
Her head snapped up, then sunk back down.
He just left. I learned to survive the concrete jungle, learned some tricks, and then poof, he's gone.
She made a gesture with her hands to emphasize the poof. A small pop open of her fingers from her palms, like she was doing jazz hands.
Sorry that happened to you.
Forget it. It's in the past. If you linger too long on it, it'll kill you.
She threw the metal nail into the distance.
I actually cared about him, though.
He was my only friend.
I care about my friends the same way.
Got it. So, do you know where they are now?
No clue. They went into the military after graduation. But I haven't been in contact in months.
Do you think they're on the other side?
Probably. I don't want to take a side. But I don't want to be on this one. If I have to fight to kill them one day.
Hate to break it to you, but you don't have a choice.
I do. I could change sides. It's not like I have friends over here. I hate being over here.
We have a better chance here than anywhere else. And you do have a friend.
Oh, really? Who?
I'd like to consider us allies, or associates, or friends even.
Why?
I'm not sure, but unlike a lot of people, I don't feel this urge to either avoid you or snap your head off on sight. You don't bother me, and you don't threaten me. Plus, we did just have a heart-to-heart moment.
I wouldn't consider that a basis for friendship.
How about a mutual agreement of respect?
Sure. And how are we supposedly safer over here?
There's food, a roof over our heads, protection.
A war, fighting, violence, the threat of death.
Not all the time.
No, it pretty much is all the time.
But it's the same over there too. Probably worse.
So what? I don't believe for a second that this righteous crusade this nightmare dude is on is actually real or will come to fruition or anything. It's just violence for violence sake.
Nightmare seems hell-bent on getting us our rights. Some freedom. Is that so wrong?
No, I just...
James looked out to the horizon.
I don't think this is the right way to do it.
What do you mean?
Humanity has always been at war with itself. What if violence isn't the answer?
Mordred, we're safe here. We're not humans.
We might not be, but the person in charge is, and we were once human. How long do you think we'll be safe here? How do you think they see us?
As things of importance, things that mean something, things worth caring and fighting for.
Zelene, we're pawns in their little game, their little war. We mean less than nothing.
We would mean the same over there.
No, Darien and Kristen have more heart than that. They wouldn't let us die. We wouldn't be just bodies over there.
You have so much faith in your friends, Mordred. I can respect that. But why wouldn't we be killed on sight? You saw how that Jake guy treated us? We're the enemy.
We're just on the wrong side.
James hadn't thought of that until now. Would they be killed? Ignored shreds of doubts now crept into James' mind. He wondered if his friends would recognize him, or even care that he was their enemy. A monster.
That Jake guy, the one I killed, didn't he know your friends? Why would they give us a chance if we killed their ally?
Not a good point. Why would they?
Jake was dead now. James shook off the thoughts.
They would. Trust me. Darien would give me a chance. He's never had a reason to doubt me before.
But he'd doubt me. They don't know me. I refuse to die because of your sorry ass.
She quickly sat up and tried to stand.
No, wait, Zelene!
James stopped her from getting up by grabbing her arm.
Okay, you've got her. Now what?
What is it, Mordred?
What if we take out someone on this side? Someone who's an enemy to my friends.
That'll also get us killed.
No, look. Destroyer is focused on defending the barrier. If we attack while he's occupied...
Mordred, he'll kill us regardless. I really don't feel like dying today.
You won't. Promise.
Really?
Yeah, we're friends, right? I won't let you die.
Well...
She relaxed and sat back to think for a second.
Alright. And I'll throw you a nice funeral if you die.
For real?
Yep. I'm a very generous person.
She spat into her left hand and extended it out to him.
Put her there, mate.
What?
I'll make sure your urn is comfy and everything. Roses, friends, the whole shebang. Deal?
Why the...
James pointed to her hand with the spit on it. The spit was now loosely turning into strands and dribbling from her palm by this point.
That's how we do it on the streets. Just shake my hand.
Okay.
He sloppily dribbled saliva into his left hand, feeling the cold loogie slide over his fingers and palm, before gingerly stretching his hand out. Before he could even grab Zelene's hand, she slapped their hands together into a handshake, which stung James' hand and sent spit flying everywhere. He could feel it, cold and mucousy, drip between his fingers. Internally, he shuddered as Zelene let go.
So, we're killing Destroyer. Mordred?
James peered over the barricade and looked toward the source of the shield.
It's James now, and we just have to wait for an opening.
Zelene looked where James was looking, seeing Destroyer occupied with the management of the phase droids and the shield's integrity. Now it was just a matter of waiting. Darien and his team were waiting in the portal room for the operator to type in the coordinates for Baltic City on Terra 1. There was a 6-man team of legacy B-13ers, ready to go through the portal as recon. Darien was cradling his aura condenser in the palm of his hand, attempting to get it working. Kristen was putting armor on and arguing with her partner for the mission. Her partner was Ethan. Kristen was pissed because she wanted to be paired with Madeline of Terra 2, but Maddie was just an observer on the mission, since she wasn't military. She went over to talk to Darien about it.
Look, Darien, I just think someone needs to keep an eye on the observer for this mission.
You know, if it were up to me, I'd let you. But we're under strict orders to stick to the pairs listed here. For some reason, they want you with Ethan. I don't fully understand why, but these people are a lot more experienced than me, so I defer to their expertise. Is this going to be a problem for you?
I suppose not. But who's keeping an eye on Maddie?
Jesse is. Look, I trust him. He's going to be our tech guru on this mission, and he and Maddie are going to help assess the situation. He'll keep her with him and out of trouble. I guarantee it. Lieutenant Commander Baxter was the last one to join the group. She was concerned about Darien. She had just been briefed on who Max Knight was to him. They had grown up together. She knew what it was like to lose someone that close to her. Lieutenant Commander Baxter approached Darien with caution, hoping he was emotionally stable after having a loss like that.
Hey, Darien. I was speaking with Andrea earlier and found out who Max was to you. I'm so sorry for your loss. Between that and finding out your father is our commander, you must be a mess. Are you sure you're all right to go on this mission?
I just lost my best friend to a drug overdose, and yeah, my dad is my commanding officer. It's a lot.
I heard about the overdose. Alice Flower, right?
Yeah.
I don't think your friend was trying to kill himself. From what I understand, you all lost someone particularly important to you. He was probably just trying to kill the pain. He didn't know what he was doing.
He was my best friend for 8 years. I don't know how to do this without him. And now there's all this pressure to get the mission right because my dad's in charge.
We have a mission to accomplish. Do what we all do when this kind of thing happens.
What's that?
Bury your feelings deep for now. Don't think about him until the mission is over and we're back here again.
Right. We have a mission to accomplish. Thanks for listening. And thanks for asking in the first place.
We're teammates now. We'll have each other's backs both physically and emotionally. Are you ready? Huddle up!
Everyone in the control room gathered in ritual fashion. Once in the circle, they all placed their hands in the center, each hand in a fist making a ladder of clenched hands as they began their battle cry.
Programming in coordinates for Terra 1. Ready in 3, 2, 1.
Let's do this!
Troy Jefferson activated the portal from a touchscreen. As he programmed the coordinates and size, the portal opened, and it began turning different colors until it was a solid aquamarine, the color of Terran dimensions. A flat crystalline mist formed an opening large enough for Battalion-13 to travel through. The portal size could be adjusted if larger objects needed to pass through, but Troy reduced the size to not waste precious resources.
Okay, guys, be careful. This looks like an extremely dangerous mission. We're all counting on you. Check back with me when you're ready to come home or need a medic.
Thanks, Troy. We couldn't do this without you.
The team stepped through one by one. Once on the other side, they quickly but quietly walked the half a cliff to the shield. Darien reached out and touched the shield. It burned him and he quickly took his hand away. He watched as the burn mark on his hand faded and healed in a matter of seconds. Huh.
Well, don't touch it.
Okay, how are we gonna get through this shield? Jane picked up a rock and threw it at the shield. The shield disintegrated the rock instantly.
We gotta find a weak spot.
I don't think an energy shield has a weak spot. It looks solid all the way around.
Maybe you should test out your new immortality and try to walk through it.
Are you nuts? That thing burned the crap out of my hand. I can't do that.
Maybe Fafnir can help.
Darien gave her a dismissive look. Ian walked up to it and touched it.
Ian!
Oh, okay. See?
Ian touched the shield and let everyone see that it wasn't hurting him at all.
It's plasma. Watch. I think I can...
He placed his palms on the shield and a small hole opened. Ian focused and the hole got bigger until it was big enough for a person to fit through.
Better hurry up and go through. I don't know how long I can do this.
As they stepped through the hole in the shield, darkness and carnage filled their landscape. The streets were littered with dead bodies. When Darien stepped through, it was like something out of one of his nightmares. This was one of his nightmares. He looked down at his waist, saw the aura condenser, and realized that it was the rectangular flashlight he wore in the last dream. He now knew this was something he had yet to master.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Breathe.
I am breathing. That's the problem. The smell is so strong.
Come on, Cynthia. This is what we trained for.
I know. Still, didn't expect that smell.
It's the stink of death. It's all around us. Our missions are usually dangerous, but this stench is a bit much.
Hey guys, there's a hotel over this way. It might still be there.
The rest of the team followed Jesse to a hotel that miraculously was still standing. When they got to the door, they saw people standing there like zombies. Ethan approached one of them and waved his hand in front of their face. There was no response. He reached out and touched one of them. They were warm. He noticed that there was a little drool coming out of the side of one's mouth, but otherwise they seemed dazed.
Darien? Guys? This one is alive, but appears to be in a state of shock. I can't seem to feel anything from him.
This is very odd. I have one over here too. I touched him and he's warm. This makes no sense.
Let's get inside and take stock. Once done, we can split off into our two-person teams and get this mission over with. Remember, this is only a recon mission.
My family is from here. We should see if there are any survivors.
That's part of our mission if we have time.
Once inside the hotel, the team looked around. There were no carcasses or remains inside. It was rather pristine. Cynthia, Eric, see if you can find the breakers. Maybe a generator. We're gonna need power.
Yes, sir.
Sure thing. Come on, Cynthia.
Cynthia and Eric found the breakers and the generator.
Maybe there's a short or something. It's not coming on.
Eric, stand back.
The lights activated throughout the building.
That should do it.
Great job.
As Cynthia turned around, she suddenly saw a human-sized bat-like creature hanging from the ceiling. It opened its eyes, which were glowing red.
What the hell is that?
What? Oh, damn!
The creature suddenly dropped to the floor and started inching towards Cynthia.
Oh, fuck this!
Cynthia blasted the creature continuously with electricity until it dropped. It twitched uncontrollably until it was no longer moving.
Good job.
They walked over to the elevator and took it to the main level.
Let's hope the renegades don't see that this hotel has a power restored. That may not have been the call I would have made, but we can take advantage of it.
Where are all the people who work here? What about the guests? Two Keys Hotel of Baltic City. Looks like it would have been a nice place to get away. The kind of place I would have taken Kristen for our honeymoon if we'd had time to take one.
Never mind that now. You're immortal. Don't get yourself killed with a crinonium blade, and you can take Kristen on 100 honeymoons if she also lives that long. Everyone gather around for your missions.
Everyone gathered closer to Jane and Darien. The elevator door dinged and out came Cynthia and Eric.
Okay, I want you to split off into your pairs and survey the city. Your single mission is to gather intel so we can get a larger strike force here to do the actual fighting. This is just a recon mission.
If I see the bastards that tormented me, I'm taking my vengeance. This is what my Baltic City looked like when they attacked and destroyed my world. I can't let this happen again, Darien. You may be this world's copy of my brother, but I don't know you. I don't know this Kristen or this Chad. I've already missed knowing this world's Max. The only family I have left is Jake, and I just saw a version of him die. If I see the bastards that killed my entire family, I will take my vengeance.
No, Maddie. This is just a recon mission. You heard Commander Baxter. Just see what's happening and report back.
But...
Maddie, you promised.
Fine.
Go.
Jesse and Madeline were carefully surveying the area around the center of town. Jesse was in his robotic suit and had figured out stealth mode. There was a park where all kinds of demons and vampires had gathered around a stage in the square. Jesse saw a familiar face among the crowd.
Look, it's Dr. Carson. He's still alive. What's he doing here?
Who?
He was my robotics instructor at the academy. He's the reason I built this suit. We gotta rescue him.
That's not our mission. We need to stay out of sight and watch what's happening here. We might see their leader in this crowd. They look like they're waiting for someone to speak. They're kind of acting like zombies, like they're under some sort of spell. Not moving or talking to each other. Something's not right.
You can watch and see who he is, but I'm gonna get my friend out of there.
Jesse walked closer to Dr. Carson, who was a little bit further away from the rest of the crowd.
Dr. Carson! Dr. Carson, what are you doing here?
Dr. Carson turned to face Jesse, and Jesse quickly understood why he was there. His contorted face was that of a vampire, just as Davina had warned. Then Jesse thought about how Maheg said there were good vampires, like London Hollows, the vampire that helped get him out of Nightmare's thrall.
Dr. Carson, come on, we gotta get you out of here.
You built your suit. I'm impressed.
Never mind that now. We gotta get out of here. This is a bad place.
No, I think I'll stay. Maybe you should too. Step out of that thing and I can make you immortal. Having your mind on our side would be delicious. Nightmare would reward me.
Jesse stepped back and pointed his suit guns at Dr. Carson.
Come on, Doc. Don't make me do this.
What an idea. I could make you do what I want. I have powers now as a vampire. Step out of your suit.
No way.
Step out of your suit.
Jesse's head began to hurt, and he had the irresistible urge to open his suit and step out. So he opened his suit and gave in to the urge. Madeline saw what was going on and started towards Jesse and Carson, then froze in her tracks as she saw something she couldn't believe. It was their leader. He began to speak. She recognized him, and in absolute terror and disbelief, she ran the other way.
We're closing in. Get ready.
On the battlefield, Darien and Jane, callsign Flare, passed tens of dozens of human corpses. Some were eaten, their torsos or shoulders horribly separated from their bodies in a stringy freak show of red mass, their tendons still holding their limbs to their torsos loosely. Some of them seemed to be trying to run, but their legs were ripped off or disintegrated. Some of them seemed to fight back, makeshift weapons from the wreckage pasted over with copper-tinted obsidian dust. The opaque powder was caked over the pipes or rebar in globs and thick layers. Other corpses had blood coating their hands, as if they struggled but failed to get away. Still others had holes blown clean through their midsections or were missing heads, the edges of their wounds crispy and burned like an overdone marshmallow. As Darien and Jane worked their way toward the source of the shield, they noted a heavy and sudden shift in the type of civilian carcasses they encountered en masse. A torn carcass, then another, and another. A burned carcass, a torn one, a burned one, shredded bloody corpse, barbecue. Then exclusively burned ones, every single one, everywhere. Somewhere else on the battlefield, hidden behind some destroyed walls, Eric and Cynthia debated the best way to attack the droids and aid Jane and Darien.
Blitz, we can't just charge in powers blazing. We have to stop and think.
Oh, then what's your plan? We need to help our teammates out fast, and I don't see a better way. They're literally everywhere.
Maybe we could overload their circuits, short them out?
So, zap them?
Yeah, but maybe not.
Got it!
Cynthia ran into a sea of droids, hands buzzing with electricity.
Blitz! Synth! Ah! God damn it!
Eric, distressed, chased after her, overheating the robot's circuits with his pyrokinesis. While Cynthia and Eric destroyed the robots to aid their friends, Darien and Flare had almost reached the source of the shield when they came upon a strange sight. James? Before his eyes, he saw his old high school pal and a brown-haired girl having a tussle with one of the renegade leaders.
What are you two doing? You're on our side. Whoa!
Destroyer dodged a flying cinder block.
I was never good at being bad. Sorry.
You're Zelene, right?
Don't talk like you know me, you outdated fossil.
Mordred.
Stop talking to me. It's James now.
Okay then.
Destroyer snapped his fingers as 3 phase droids encircled them.
Guess I'll just kill you both then.
Darien jumped into action, much to Jane's distaste.
What? Cadet Kaine, Darien, get back!
But she was ignored. Darien, leaping into battle, used his impressive strength to throw a droid into the distance. This caught James' attention.
Fuck. Darien?
Hey, James.
Man, it is so nice to...
Heads up!
Another android flew at them.
Now's not the best time to chit-chat. Get a move on!
We'll talk later, dude.
Definitely. Because you have a lot of explaining to do. For a while, the 3 of them, Darien, James, and Zelene, all tossed around droids, trying anything to smash and destroy them all. Anytime one was eliminated, another would come and take its place, making a continuous cycle of destruction. Jane observed from the shadows, seeing Darien's noteworthy combat prowess. She knew that they wouldn't be able to continue fighting in this endless rhythm forever by themselves, so she too joined the fray. With another combatant to help with the fighting, James slipped away from the fight to kill the unsuspecting renegade. James grabbed Destroyer and pushed him to the ground. James and Destroyer then began a wrestling match. Destroyer trying to kill James, and James trying to remove whatever kind of technology he could to kill Destroyer, and both trying to defend themselves from the other. The phase droid ceased firing, seemingly overloaded from an excess number of instructions. Zelene, seeing the droids halt their attack, took the opportunity to look for James. She looked out to see him in a heap with Destroyer, fighting for his life. Destroyer was trying to rip James' head off, while James tried to defend himself. Zelene quickly moved into action, running to aid James. She snatched a piece of rebar from the ground, and while Destroyer was choking James, plunged it through his head. She then used the momentum of the stab to root him to the ground, staking him and bending the edge so he couldn't get up. James, shakily rising to his feet, watched as Zelene forced a brick through his skull, destroying the cybernetics and then his brain.
Nice going, Zelene.
Thank you. I think the rebar adds a nice touch.
James.
Yeah?
What are you doing here?
Remember Justin?
Yeah. Darien remembered the night of James' graduation party. Justin was not only overly creepy, but was turned into a vampire, so Darien had to stake him with a chair leg.
Well, fairly certain he's the one that turned me into a vampire, and,
Wait, you're a vampire?
Yeah, but listen to me. I don't remember how I got here, but I remember this Dominator lady torturing me, and...
Wait, Dominator? Is she here?
Whoa, I'm not certain, but my point is...
Well, if she's near, we need to stop her from doing any more damage.
Darien, listen!
Flare, we need to wrap up here and...
Darien, listen!
James put a hand on Darien's shoulder firmly. Darien stopped.
Darien, I don't belong here. I haven't felt right here. I miss you guys. I don't understand what I am or even who I am anymore. I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm not like these things. I just want to see my friends, my family.
James,
It's fine if you don't believe me. Just do me a small favor.
James then dropped to his knees in front of Darien.
Please spare me the life of murder and terrorizing that awaits me. I'm so sick of all of this.
Darien felt pity for James, his heart sinking in his chest for his old friend. He couldn't do this to James, vampire or not. James wasn't like this. He was happier, a party guy, a good guy. Hearing James' plea reminded him of Maddie. Would his sister have begged for the same relief in her situation? Then Darien thought of Max. If he had never overdosed, would he have asked for the same mercy? The same cold end to a waking nightmare that never ceases, helping them find solace in leaving everything behind to escape it all? Darien refused to oblige James' request to die. His heart went out to James, so he knelt down and hugged him. I won't kill you, man. I don't know how to help you, but I can't kill you.
I don't want to do this. I can't do this, Darien. I'm sorry.
We could take him back to the academy.
Really?
Yes, he's not evil like them. He seems different.
Then let's do that.
Really?
Yeah, dude. James cried harder.
I had always hoped that you guys would accept me.
We're friends, dude. Max just died. I need you now more than ever. It's so good to see you.
Max died? How?
Drug overdose of sorts. He was self-medicating after Maddie lost her life to suicide. We just found out about Max today.
Darien, I'm so sorry, man. Max and Maddie are dead? That's pretty fucked up. How are you even able to concentrate on this mission?
I don't know, man. Military training, I guess. Worried about the fate of everyone here on Terra 1. Another version of Maddie showed up at the academy today. She never even got to meet our Max.
Hey, what about me?
Zelene held Destroyer's head in her hands, still impaled with rebar. She had dismembered him while the others talked, his limbs strewn about and a separated mix of oil and blood pooled around his torso.
What did you do to him?
Made sure he wouldn't come back. If you want a surefire death, you gotta go all out.
Zelene then slid the head off the rebar, organic material of various kinds and wires oozing out of the side being pushed along the rebar. The squelching sounds it made as she removed it slowly reflected just how human he was, and a lead weight sunk into James' heart. Another person dead, even if he was evil. She then took the head itself, and tossing the head into the air, grabbed the rebar and battered it across the wasteland. It landed with a thwack and a smush, followed by a thwomp against a half-broken wall, coating it in a red paste, leaving it half-shriveled, squished, and shattered in a gross heap.
And you are?
Oh, sorry. I'm Zelene. I'm James' friend on the other side. Well, your side now.
You're not on our side.
Jane looked this Zelene character up and down. One thing that stuck out to Jane, among the tattered trench coat and military garb, was the excessive number of bloodstains running down her shirt.
Yeah, I'm kind of a traitor now. James said we'd be safer on the good side, our side. I'd prefer not to become a dust pile for the street sweepers, if you know what I mean. I'm willing to change my ways. I just want to live to see tomorrow.
Jane's face twisted with distrust. Darien displayed disbelief at Zelene's pleading.
We did this to prove that we don't want to be here. That we're friendlies. Zelene's with me. I promise she'll be on your side too.
I don't think...
If James is vouching for her, then we have to take her too.
What? Darien?
If they cause problems, I'll take responsibility. I trust James.
You don't have...
Please, Flair. She looked over at James and Zelene.
Fine. But if they cause trouble...
It's my fault.
Thanks, man. I won't let you down. I promise. We won't let you down. Right, Zelene?
Huh? Oh, no, definitely not.
She smiled. Then, something tragic occurred. It took a moment for Cynthia to fully process what just happened. She had zapped one of the phase droids, but when this particular droid bugged out, it acted differently. It twitched, it rattled, it shook. Eric caught out something that she missed. And then he lunged at her, pushing her out of the way as something exploded nearby. The ringing was still settling in her ears when she looked to see Eric, lifeless at her side. Buried from his temples to his nape were bits of shrapnel, shards of cement, screws, nails, unknown pieces of metal. Peppered down the side of his body were more pieces of machinery, metal, and cement dust. Blood oozed, a mirror of black and red, from his body, mostly his face, onto the ground before Cynthia. She saw herself in the blood, fine but shaken, disheveled, haunted. One of his eyes stared at her, dislodged from his head and loosely connected by his optic nerves. His hands were loose and relaxed, but still stretched out towards her, trying to reach her, save her, push her. His hair was becoming matted with blood, turning red and heavy. Cynthia wanted to turn his body over to reach out to say something to him, but she didn't. She physically couldn't. She sat there in complete stillness, silence, frozen to the core. Then, suddenly, she was free. She could move. She carefully turned over Eric's body, compelled by morbid curiosity. He was missing an eye. Shrapnel had carved out half of his face, distorting it with sharp, jagged edges, or smooth lumps just beneath the surface of the skin. Blood covered his features, running down his face. His other eye, still in the socket, was full of shock and desperation. Cynthia dropped Eric's body and scrambled a couple of feet away. She began to sob, her brain finally caught up to her. The words Eric said before he died reached her only minutes too late.
Watch out!
Just before the blast, Eric had shoved her out of the way, just in time to save her, and he paid the price. Cynthia's screams were heard by a nearby Darien. Darien and a boy with black hair came over to her. They tried to speak to her, but their words couldn't reach her. The tinnitus from the blast returned and covered up their frantic words of aid. Cynthia was deaf to them. Darien and Jane were getting closer to the shield. They had sent James and Zelene along with Cynthia back to their base camp at the hotel for rest, recovery, and to prepare for the trip home. Chad and Ian had finished securing the hotel as a base camp as they arrived in triage. The closer Darien and Jane got to the shield, the more phase droid bodies were there.
Those phase droids must have been under Destroyer's command. They're all dead now, disconnected. The shield is unguarded. This has become so much more than the recon mission was supposed to be. We gotta take the shield out.
That will give away our position.
Look around, Flair. They already know we're here. The least we can do is take out the shield and get rid of the vampires that are feasting on this city's populace. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I dreamt about this. My mom always taught me that people act out of love or fear. When I had those nightmares, I was terrified of what would happen because I had no power to change anything. Now that I'm here, I can actually do something. It's like I'm meant to be here or something. I love this city.
Jane considered Darien's words carefully, and she remembered Andrea's prophecy. Maybe Darien and his friends were the ones to change B-13. Maybe they could take risks again. There had to be a reason why Andrea heard their mission briefing before they left.
We need the charges from the base.
You mean these? They're quite small. I thought I would bring them with us just in case.
Jane blinked a few times in shock.
You knew you were going to do this, didn't you?
No, I just hoped we would. If you had said no, I would have listened.
Alright, let's get this over with.
Darien and Flair found their way to the shield generator and started placing explosive charges around it.
This should do the trick. Let's get out of here.
Darien and Flair ran as far away from the blast zone as possible. Flair wasn't running fast enough, so Darien scooped her up and ran at top speed back to the hotel. A few minutes later, they could see the explosion and the shield came down. Their mission, however sidetracked, was a success. Madeline ran back to the hotel as fast as she could. She had bad news to report. In a few minutes, the whole team was back at the hotel. Darien looked around trying to account for everyone. Someone was missing.
Maddie, where's Jesse?
He was captured. Someone named Dr. Carson took Jesse with his thrall and grabbed Jesse's suit too. There was nothing I could do.
Damn it! I knew bringing you was a bad idea. I was worried more about you getting hurt. I didn't even think about the fact that you have no military training. And Jesse shouldn't have come on this mission either. He was too close to the situation.
We can go back for him. Fafnir could help us. With your help, we could...
It's too late for that. After the shield fell, most of the renegades fled. I'm sure he's gone too.
Wait a minute. Where's Eric?
He didn't make it.
He died saving my life.
At least he didn't die in vain. You're still alive. I'm thankful for his sacrifice.
Yes. Some recon mission.
We gotta get back to the academy. Report our findings. Blast fire. Contact Troy and have him open a portal for us.
Gotcha.
Blastfire tapped the communicator embedded under his ear.
Troy, this is Blastfire. I need you to zero in on my location and open a portal back to base.
You got it.
Troy opened the portal, and the team went through. Darien and the gang were in Professor Maheg's office, confiding in him and finding support after debriefing with Eugene from the mission. It went sideways. We lost 2 team members and friends. It was just like my dream. The dream I had over and over again. I thought having the dream meant I could make a difference. Kristen put a supportive hand on his shoulder, and every time I had that dream, Kristen was there to calm me down. But this time it was real. Shawn told me, in the dream, Shawn told me it was going to be this way. He tried to warn me.
At least we found James. Vampire or not, he's still a friend.
I don't trust him or that Zelene character. They're both vampires, and they were in the renegade ranks. How do we know they aren't responsible in part for the attacks on the Academy? Jake is dead, Max is dead, Eric is dead, Jesse is missing? What's next? Maybe killing that robot man was a stunt. Zelene should at least be locked up because she's so dangerous.
I've known James a long time, and if he says he can control his bloodlust, I believe him. I don't know about Zelene, but if James vouches for her, I think we have to give her the benefit of the doubt too. Just then, Madeline entered the room. Maddie, I'm trying to work this out with Professor Maheg. What are you doing here?
I have information to tell you.
It can wait.
It's about the mission we were just on.
It can wait.
Now wait, just a minute. If she has something to add, I'd like to hear it.
Taking her was a bad idea. I don't think she has anything of use to...
It's about the leader of the Renegades!
What about him?
I saw his face. I recognized him.
You saw his face? How?
He was speaking to the crowd. He had them all under some sort of thrall. I saw it all from the bushes. Darien, he knows us. All of us.
Wait, what do you mean he knows us, Maddie? He knows about us? Or knows us personally?
Are you serious? Kristen, of course he knows about you. About Darien, about this place. How could he not? This is everything our family was destined to be. Oh, wow, bust it. You really don't know. None of you know. Which means none of you know anything. He's a bad egg. Darien, Nightmare is Shawn.
December 5th, 1995. It's been a rough couple of months in the Kaine household. First, we lost Maddie. Then Matt lost it at the funeral. Then Darien almost died. Max was lost, and now my Jake is dead, killed by vampires. Not even eaten, just straight up murdered. The weird thing is that another Jake and another Maddie from Terra 2 are now working at our academy. I don't know how I'm as calm as I am right now. I miss Jake! My Jake! But there's nothing I can do. Matt's been doing better, but I think the reason is that he has Mr. Davidson looking after him. Grandma Gladys told me not to trust him, but he's been nothing but great to Matt and me. The weird thing is, he somehow seems familiar. I have no idea why. It's so frustrating not knowing why, because Grandma Gladys said not to trust him. With Darien and the others joining Battalion-13 even for one mission, I'm nervous. They have the highest mortality rate of any battalion, but at least they'll keep their memories. I don't know how much of this I can take. It's just too much stress. I don't even know how my parents are as calm as they are. I know they miss Maddie, but now there's a new Maddie, and this one's not even a goth. She's like a tougher version of my little sister. I hate to say it, I really do, but I like her. And this one is battle-hardened and has a dragon at her beck and call. I'm so confused right now. How am I supposed to feel about getting a replacement sister? Or a replacement husband? He's not my Jake, but he looks exactly like him. I'm glad I'm not at the academy right now. I don't think I could take working under these conditions. I need this break as much for myself as for Matt. There's a small part of me that fears I'm being selfish, but I know in my heart that it takes true courage and self-love to rest in these times of grief. I hope Mom and Dad get the rest they need too. End journal entry.
Thank you for listening to Battalion-13, the podcast. Follow us on our socials. Our YouTube is B13 Inc. Our TikTok is LN at B13 Books. We have a fan group on Facebook called Battalion-13, the podcast fan group. Our Facebook and Instagram pages at B13 Inc. and Battalion-13 HQ. You can find all of these links on our website at www.b13books.com and learn more about our B13 universe, content with courage, and a listing of all of our upcoming projects. Support us on Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/B13books.